Hello, and welcome to another Invisiblade VOD review for LaSinity. Um, I'm rusty. I haven't been grinding the game in months, but I still tend to hold Diamond. I was an Onyx player, so I'm just trying to help out those that are also students of the game. We're all students of the game. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing here. So I tried to record part of your stream, but I screwed it up. So instead I bailed on that. To pick a game, I used Halo Data Hive and found that Livefire seems to be your weakest map. The only other one I considered was this Aquarius Capture the Flag, but I couldn't find a new game that you've played recently. It was from like a month ago. It was your last one that was legit. You had one from a few days ago, but someone quit and it was a 5-minute game. So, anyway, I couldn't find an Aquarius game to look at. So I did find a Livefire King of the Hill. It was just before the change. I think it was like the day before. So we don't have the changes, but I don't know how the changes are going to play out anyway. It's all speculation. Lunchbox, I know you watched his training thing he did today. Crap, I can't remember the name of the Twitch. All of a sudden, KotH Academy. There we go. You watched Lunchbox KotH Academy, and he went over quite a bit of it. So I'll talk about this a little bit, but I'm not going to focus on it with the game. But before we get into that, let's talk about some settings, because normally I don't focus too much on mechanics for players because everyone loses one-on-ones and most people have a decent shot and stuff. But down the gold, low platinum with where you're at and watching a little bit of your stream, you do have some aiming issues. So I do want to talk about that a little bit and what might help you with that. So let me switch my screen here. So the first setting, you have text size set to default. Make sure this is set to large. That makes it easier to read the kill feed. Not part of your aim stuff, just that's the only other setting. Otherwise, check out the article. I think you might have already done that on Halo Waypoint. It's got a lot of good information. I also have a video. There's a lot of other videos out there for settings to get as competitive as you can. But that's one that I did notice from your stream, that it's hard to read your kill feed and it probably doesn't like register in your brain a lot of times when you see it. So set that to large. But yeah, let's check out Shyway's video, but I want to talk about a few other things. First off, on your dead zones, this might help. I just got a new controller, which I'm still getting used to, so all my dead zones are set to 0. But what I found, in my personal opinion at least, for your move thumbstick, you want your axial dead zone at 0, and then use your center dead zone so you get no stick drift. On your look thumbstick, it's the opposite. You want your center at 0, maybe 0.5 just to round it out a little bit, and then you want to use your axial to get 0 stick drift. Because with the axial, as you go left or right, it stops you from going up and down on accident, or if you're trying to go up and down, it stops you from going left or right on accident. I don't know what your current dead zones are. I don't know how bad your current controller is. But that's just my thought and my personal opinion. If you want more on like how these work, my video, I talk about this quite a bit, or Google it otherwise. But yeah, center for your move and axial for your look thumbstick. And then just in Academy, what I would do, this is how I dialed mine in, is start shooting. Let me switch my controller here. Start shooting at Spartan bots, right? I've got this set to Spartan bots. Here we go. Shoot at Spartan bots for like 2 minutes as you record yourself, or just stream it so that you can play it back. Then after about 2 minutes of just shooting at bots, go back and watch the VOD at 0.25 speed and see what your tendencies are. You might find that you overcorrect one way or the other. That's really loud in my ears. You might find that you overcorrect a little bit and need to lower your sensitivity a little, or you might find that you undercorrect and you need to increase it. It's hard to tell at real speed, and as you're playing, it's really hard to tell. But if you're just shooting bots and you're focused on that, and then you play it back at 0.25 speed, you can kind of see what you're doing. I do find you want a higher look sensitivity, so as you fall, or vertical sensitivity, so as you fall, you can continue to look up. But the horizontal, you don't really have that in very many places. So, and this is if you watch my settings video that I made about a year ago, I'm much higher now because of my new controller. I'm using a tall thumbstick, which I'm also still getting used to. But anyway, yeah, so that's my suggestions on your aim and settings otherwise. So yeah, let's go back to here. Let's just talk about a couple of changes. I know Lunchbox talked about them. I'm not going to focus on them a lot, but just giving some initial thoughts. Quantum Translocator is going to be really big for King of the Hill because you can pop back and around. The Plasminades, I don't think that really makes a big difference for the most part. Same with Spike Grenades, like it just changes their location, but I don't know how much it'll really affect things. The Needler doesn't come into play very often. There's no Shroud Screen anymore, and there's nothing there. I double-checked the map, and there's nothing in that spot. It was a drop wall way back in Season 1, so interesting to have less equipment, and there's no heat wave, so they're trying to lower the sandbox a little. Repulsor moved, but the active camo, I think the biggest thing, at least for King of the Hill, is that you can sit in the hill with camo, and they can't see you, kind of like on Recharge, where they have to nade it first to reveal you. But we'll see how this plays out. I don't know. The King of the Hill, they did move it, so I've got Shot Call up here. They moved this hill down to mud, the OS pillar, whatever, OS down to mud, and then they just moved the A1 over. So I'll get into that a little bit during your game, but no, these have changed, so the thought processes are going to be a little different. So with King of the Hill on Livefire, the two hills you first start with, you've got the B hill and then the C hill. Both of those, your primary spawn that you want to hold is C. It's much harder to attack the hill from A because you've really only got two angles, out big door and sandbags. You can shoot both of those, or you can shoot sandbags from tower. You can shoot at them from pillars and stuff. In order to get to the hill otherwise, they either have to take a long... Let's put you in position here. Let's say it's something like this. I don't know why that one is that color. If the enemy is spawning over by A, right, then they either have to take a long route to get to here. They can go underneath, which is also a long route to get to pillars. So 9 times out of 10, especially in the platinum lobbies that you're in, they're going to come out big door or go sandbags. It's very easy to funnel them. On the flip side, if you are trying to hold A area and they're spawning out by dummies, they have a lot of options, right? They can go up underneath back mud. They can quickly go down underneath here. They've got the attack from the bridge where they have cover. If they can cross to nest, it's much easier to attack B from the C side. So you want your teammates spawning on C so that as they die, you can attack B better. Let's say that person died, right? Let's say 2 of them died. If they're spawning up over here, it's easier for your team to get to this hill. Obviously, same thing with this hill because it is right here. You want to be spawning around it, so you want to be holding like nest and dummies kind of area, maybe from cuts wherever you end up, and then 1 tower. So for the first 2 hills, controlling C spawn is very powerful. Then it swaps to A. That one's generally easy to hold, and I think that's why they moved it. We'll see how that plays out. But this hill's, everyone just kind of watches all the angles and everyone sits in here. It's not a big deal. You can spread out. I do like to personally go back B for that hill. Force them to spawn this side and let your teammates know that that's where they're coming from. They might go, up underneath that direction. But it's not as important, especially in the platinum lobbies you're in. This hill, you want to control both sides. So you have 1 in the hill, 1 on A, and 1 on C, forcing them to spawn B, because 9 times out of 10, well, maybe 7 times out of 10, they're just going to go to sandbags, or they're going to go through to dummies, and it's easy to choke them with this person and this person up top mid, right? And then the last person can either hang out cuts so that they can switch back and forth really easily. They could rat here looking for this attack if they're doing that. So even helping A, right? You've always got that floater player that it doesn't really matter. Kind of depends on where they're at. These are the 3 main areas. Obviously that hill doesn't exist anymore, so it doesn't really matter, but the concept of holding the right areas still matters. So for this new hill here, I know Lunchbox talked about 1 at nest, 1 up top C, and then your last one either back green to stop them from spawning there. However, because of camo, I'm actually half wondering, let the nest guy kind of control that. Have your 4th person over here to help fight for camo. But we'll see how that plays out. And yeah, top mid one, also holding tower is really powerful. Attacking this from C is easier. Attacking from A, it's much easier to defend from. So Yeah, so that's like the main strats. Again, the map has changed, so it's kind of hard to say. Heat wave's gone, that's a big deal. Yeah, I don't know what else to say with that. So I'm gonna try to just focus on how it was, and it will transition here with the changes. So let's get into it.
Coming.
Become king. Seize and control the hill.
Hill ready. Enemy team took.
Okay. Your starting spot isn't so bad, but I want to talk about what you just did here. So as you are coming towards the bridge, you'll notice that your crosshair, as you're coming across, is still way over here. And by now, you should already be looking there. There's one thing to say, check your nest before you look that direction. But it's early enough in the game, you're virtually guaranteed that they're not at nest yet. And you're already out in the open. If there was a guy standing like out here by repulsor, they could already be shooting you, and you're not in a position to shoot them. So what I want you to focus on, I'm going to switch screens here again, and because this comes up, I noticed a lot as I watched to record this back. But let's turn the bots off because I won't need them anymore. Oops, wrong one. This is where if I edited it, I would edit that part out. Anyway, so as you come around here, wait, didn't I turn them off? Apparently not. Okay. What? There we go. As you're coming around here, if you want to go out that far, you can, but try to get over a little bit quicker. Maybe even just jiggle peek because you already know they're there because it says that they're in the hill. But coming across and then turning, you end up getting shot before you're even looking in their direction, right? So be already looking the best you can. And this may or may not be the best example because real time and stuff. But I'll bring it up more as we go through. But since this is the first opportunity, I thought I'd bring it up.
He took the hill.
Yep, that was the situation where just watching this, you're undercorrecting a little bit. It could be that your dead zones are too high and maybe they have to because of your controller. I don't know. But that shot should have been a relatively easy one to adjust with the right stick. If your sensitivity is maybe slightly higher, or if your dead zone's a little different, where your center dead zone might be too big, so you couldn't adjust that little bit.
Overshield inbound.
Hill control.
This is good. That was the best you could do. I don't know how else to put that.
Hill control.
Okay, so right off the bat here, OS is up. You are playing with Servana. This is something else I brought up in her VOD review, which I'm assuming you watched since you two are duos. At the time, I knew you were Gold 5. I had forgot that you had hit Plat and you were recently low Plat, so you guys aren't as big of a difference as I thought. But if you're playing with someone higher ranked than you, then your job is objective and their job is to slay. Because if there's just two of you, say you were Gold 5 and Servana's Plat 5, right? Then the average lobby is going to be low Plat. In that case, Servana would be the Slayer, you would be the objective. If it's flipped, where you're playing with a Silver 5, then you would be the Slayer, they would be objective. So your goal here in this game, I would think is primarily Hill, although your rank, mainly because you're crashing, I've seen that on Twitter, isn't as big of a gap as I was thinking when I did the other VOD review. But that is something to kind of keep in the back of your mind, is play to your lobby, as to if you're the best, the worst, if you're solo queuing, etc. Yeah, I don't like that. Okay, so two things here. One, you do want to help with overshield. It is probably the same speed. Maybe it's okay that you went sandbags here. I would have personally gone towards A over here instead. I don't think it really makes a difference. It's just what I would have done instead. So this is okay, but what I don't like is right here, you jump out to help her, which is fine, but you just jump straight down here, and at this point, as you're falling off, you realize they already have OS, there's two people here, Servana, sorry, you're dead, there's nothing you can do to save her, your best bet is to stay top sandbags, don't jump down here, either finish this guy off if you can, put damage on the OS, but play your life. Jumping down here to try to help her with OS is already gone. There's several people here, right? So as you Oh, I forgot. When I rewind, it goes back way too far. As you're coming up here, your thought process needs to be scope the situation first. So right here, instead of jumping, I would just slide up against the sandbags and take a look. Maybe be ready, start your jump, but plan on landing on the sandbags to get a better idea of what's going on before you overcommit to coming down here. And then right there, because you're already dead, I wouldn't even worry about shooting at that guy necessarily. You could try to run away. He does end up beaming you with the heat wave, which won't happen anymore. But yeah, you're like, she's already been fighting for it. You're kind of a little late. You don't want to die here because that gives them an advantage. So you end up dying. Now you're 2 dead. They have OS. They're pushing both sides of the map. And they probably have more up. I don't know because I don't have the kill feed. But yeah, it's better to scope it first before overcommitting over there. Okay, this is good. You guys are going to work together pushing that bags. I like that. Oh, teammated. Actually, would have liked you. So you notice what Servano's doing here, and this is kind of where she's already learned this, and this is why she's a little higher rank.
Enemy team took the hill.
Instead of running straight to the hill, right now you've got plenty of time. VLC's kind of in the way here. You've got plenty of time for the hill, so it's not like you have to desperate the hill or anything. You want to at least injure them before you just run down there, because you don't know if there's someone's sandbag or nest, bridge, pillars, right? By running out there, you expose yourself to every angle. Right here, you're exposed to like every angle, right? You know there's at least 2 back there. Turns out there's 3. We can see that because of theater. Instead, bounce your grenades down there, which is why you get team naded. It's because Servana's trying to throw out damage, tossing these grenades. So it would be better for you to stay back with her, get the grenades in, try to find the damage, and don't come out here until you have a little bit more info. And then instead of desperating straight for the hill, if you drop slide towards back B, that's not a bad move. Oh, yep. Oh, one of those situations working on the aim kind of thing. Like, I don't expect every shot to necessarily hit, and normally I don't point it out, but I do notice that you struggle a lot with it, so... Okay, so my thought process here off spawn, as you're running up here, you've got 3 people up fighting for hill. So adding a 4th player by B doesn't really help the situation at this exact moment in time. So my thought is cut them off from going top mid and kind of holding A for a second to make sure that they don't spawn there. I don't know how many are dead. Maybe they just got 3 dead. If you just got 3 dead on their side, I would beeline it through top mid over to C to get that C control, like I talked about before the game started, of the right spawn that you want. So that's my thought off of this spawn. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so you did have 1 die, so you're trying to help with this fight. Not a bad thing. The situation did change from when I was talking a second ago. So there's that. Oh, yep, I was about to say, then sure enough, that actually happened. That's funny. I actually did think it was going to happen, but it's a thought that went through my head that you were exposing yourself to getting back smacked. You're better off actually sitting more white wall than here if you're looking that direction. Let me see if I can back it up a little bit. Because if they're fighting from nest, right, you know they're coming from the C side, it is likely, especially in these platinum lobbies, that they're going to cross top mid. And if they cross top mid and you're standing here, you're just going to get smacked in the back. So it's better to go white wall, maybe pillars. Check it first, obviously. But standing right here, it exposes your back, and then, yep, sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I should have said it before it actually did.
Hill controlled. Enemy about to score.
Now we're getting to the point where they're getting relatively close, so not full desperate yet, but we're getting there.
Overshield inbound.
Hill control.
I actually don't fully like going big door here. Let me talk about that for a second as well.
Enemy about to score.
So you do see that you just had a teammate push out big door. You've got another teammate over by B, right? We don't know where the enemy is. I do because of the theater, right? But you already have that angle covered from this guy going big door. You don't want to continue to funnel out the same angle. So this is where it would be better to go up towards sandbag so that you've got two different angles into the hill. Because if they're shooting someone on dark side and that person runs away to light side, you can see light side from sandbags. If you go big door as well, you can't, and you can't really help as much.
Overshield inbound.
Hill controlled.
Okay.
Overshield available.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That was a little bit of a desperate play, but it kind of worked out because you got to jump up and take it, so I'm not going to knock it. Not necessarily the play I would have gone for, but it kind of worked out in your favor. So,
Your team
well,
about to score.
we'll let that happen. Okay, cool. So this is another one of those
Team
situations
about
easy to point out.
score.
So as you are fighting this guy, did you notice how you had to look over to the right? I'm going to swap screens here. As you're making that jump, you end up looking to jump and then back up. Another thing to practice is you should be able to jump and go sideways, right? Like if you want to jump up there, that's fine, but keep your crosshair on him. Don't look over and then back towards him. Use your, unless you're going to sprint, right? Like if you're sprinting to get up there, you have to. But otherwise, keep your crosshair on him. And as you make that jump, going sideways. And then as this fight continues, before I swap screens, as you come around here, you're like looking at the ground to try to get the melee. Maybe he's ducking here. Maybe that's what your thought process was. But instead of focusing on the ground, which you do a lot as you're running around, I used to do that a lot too. Like as you come around here and if you're looking down, and it took me a long time to kind of figure, or not really figure it out. Like once I noticed what I was doing, it was there, but it took me a long time to break that habit. Keep your crosshair at a level that you can still see and you can still shoot. If you're looking at the ground and he's standing, say he's standing here, and you come around the corner looking here, then you can't shoot him. If you're looking there, you know, roughly body level, it doesn't matter if he's sitting here or there, you're shooting him in the head or the body, whichever it is. So as you come around this corner on the video, just be conscious of where your crosshair is. And so yeah, that button, there we go. And play. Oh, okay, it wasn't as bad as I was thinking it was. Still a little bit not as bad as I thought. Okay, cool. It just real time it seemed worse than it actually was. So just the principle's still good, but not as bad as I thought it was. That's a good time to be looking sandbags as you cross there.
Enemy team took the hill.
Oh, that's inconvenient. You guys are awfully close to scoring this. Okay, this is definitely time to desperate the hill. Another moment where as you came off bridge, should have been looking in this direction.
Incoming.
That's okay.
Hill ready.
S7 sniper.
Good job.
Enemy
Good
team
shots.
took the hill. Double
Good job
kill.
backing up because they're already on the hill.
Net obtained. Commence. Floating. S7 sniper. Available.
Hill controlled.
Oh, T-Rex arms.
Enemy team took the hill.
Okay, here you've already got teammates dead in front of you. I would not rush the hill here because there's nobody to really back you up yet. You've got plenty of time, so I would not push much further than here. Even crossing here on cuts is kind of dangerous because they might spot you, but let's see what happens. I don't know how you killed that guy, but all right.
Enemy about to score.
Yeah, so what ended up happening there is because you rushed us a little bit. Kind of lucky they didn't spot you there. Yeah, that guy was looking away. Right here, you do have two teammates that are coming, but they're about 2, maybe 3 seconds behind you. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but in Halo it really is. You're better off waiting just a little bit longer so you guys can attack at the same time. Instead, what ends up happening is you start this fight, and ends up being... I mean, I'm surprised you don't die faster here, and that guy's not even looking in your direction. So you're kind of getting away with a little bit in this lobby. But because they're still, 2 seconds behind you, you're kind of fighting 1v4. You die. You do take out the one, but then your teammates are forced in a 2v3 because one of them ends up dying also by themselves. So it's just your timing was off by about that 2 seconds. Waited just a little bit longer, and you guys probably won this fight, or at least had a better chance to.
Enemy about to score.
I think they end up scoring this here because you only got one teammate there. And, yeah.
Scored. Hill incoming.
Overshield inbound.
Okay, so this is one of the changed hills.
Hill control. Enemy team
Good.
took
I like
the
that.
hill.
Ditch the early hill, get the OS, secure that. Very good.
Instant obfuscation at your fingertips.
Okay, so interesting pathing. I'm gonna say I dislike the pathing to go to top C, but said I'm gonna point out this is another one of those situations. As you run up here, you're looking like at the ramp, which I know when I pause this it gets all blurry. Sorry about that. As you're coming up here, because you're not 100% certain where the enemy is, there's at least some over there, right? But not necessarily all of them. Have your crosshair placed where they could be, right? Your crosshair should be up here towards dice, maybe. Not in any specific spot, but being way down here, there's not somebody here, and they're not going to be on the ramp as you run up it. Put your crosshair up to where you're moving to, or where your enemies could be, to get that first shot on them if they do happen to be there.
Obfuscation at your
And like right here, right, as you're coming around, you're just kind of looking at the ground right in front of you. Your crosshair should be up already above here or over by dice, something like that, so that you can get that first shot.
fingertips.
Right there too, right? Like this entire pathing, you're looking at the ground as you... Can I back up? Not that far, dang it. I gotta figure that out.
Instant
As you're crossing top mid here,
obfuscation at
your crosshair is just
fingertips.
pointed at the floor. And if they're at sandbags right now, you're not in position to shoot them yet. So just keeping your crosshair at a good level would really help you.
Hill control.
Wow, there's 3 of them right there. Holy crap. Double kill. 3. Wow. Good win. Good win. Okay, so this is where there are 4 of you sitting on the hill. I know the other 2 just spawned up. It's a good time to spread out. Because as I watch this, as I was recording this, I remember this moment, and it ends up that everybody leaves the hill. Since this is a lobby where in theory you're the weak link, you should focus on staying in the hill. If you have comms with your team, you can let them know, I've got hill, you guys spread out, that kind of a thing. If it's not that kind of a lobby, if you're solo queuing or you're the stronger player, then, kind of judge it based off how people are moving and spread out. But yeah, you don't want 4 people on the hill, but you've at least got to have 1, and then everybody ends up leaving this hill. And I think that was the thing, is you were like, oh, there's 3 of us. This Mallow guy leaves. You leave, but then everybody leaves. You can see here, nobody's in the hill anymore. And then somebody does get back into it, but I do like holding B here. That was kind of inconvenient timing, but I don't think you actually checked pillars. Maybe you did with your eyeballs. Maybe you thought your teammate did. I did just see him in theater, but yeah, as you're coming up here, this is perfect. So, let's see if I can pause the right spot. So you do check, then they show up, right? At this moment, you're looking at the wall. You can't see anything. Maybe your eyes are kind of back here. Not a bad spot to check, right? It could just be inconvenient timing. But because your crosshair isn't there, I can't tell if that's where you're looking or if you're looking here. And if you're looking here, there's nothing here. And then as you come up, you turn this sideways. This should be one of those that you're kind of already looking there, or you're ready to fight somebody. And if they do get first shot, actually, I'm going to swap screens in because this is a good example here. So, sorry, new controller. I'm fumbling a little bit. You come, you check, and you come this way. Instead of looking there to jump up, right, you can sprint and be looking already in that direction as you go sideways. And if you don't fumble like I just did, you can make the jump and look. There we go. Or, at minimum, when you jump up here, be ready for there to be somebody there. Say they get first shot, you can back off. But if you full commit here first and then move over, then you're already down 1 or 2 shots, right? So as you move across, get your crosshair already ready. You do, if you're sprinting and stuff, you have to go in the direction. But I would like to see that you're spending less time looking at nothing so that you can see more things, if that makes sense. And of course, watching the video, hindsight 2020, real time, 2 different things. But as long as the principle is there, the more you practice it, the more it'll become nature of be more conscious of where your crosshair is.
Enemy team took the hill.
Repulsor obtained.
Okay.
Enemy.
Another spot where you're attacking by yourself, your teammate's not quite with you yet, so you're just a few seconds early, and that's a big deal.
About to score.
You do kind of pause there, but then you just get absolutely melted, and then Sarvana gets melted as well. And she's trying to attack because you are, right? She doesn't want you to attack by yourself, so she tries to attack, but it's 2 on 4. You're still at disadvantage, so if you wait a little bit, hopefully Sarvana or whoever the teammate is, just in this case it is, they will wait as well, and then you can get a 4 on 4, get your pick, maybe make it a 4 on 3, that kind of a thing. By attacking a little too early, you're putting your team at a disadvantage.
Enemy team scored. Hill incoming. Hill.
Okay, right here, you guys are kind of in a bad spot. They're already up 3 hills, right? But there's plenty, like there's over 4 minutes left on the clock. The clock really hasn't moved down very much. 45 seconds and 3 hills. That's not bad at all. So off of your spawn here, this is that time to take a deep breath, recheck, right? I mean, comebacks happen all the time in Halo. There's no reason to panic yet. And so off the spawn here, you've got 2 teammates in A, and they're probably cleaning up kills. You probably know from the kill feed, which I don't from theater, how many of them are dead, but it's probably a couple, right? Controlling spawns at this point would be very advantageous and let you breathe a little bit. You already have 2 teammates a day. You're spawning C. If you stay at C, your other teammate that's currently dead, which is Sarvana, she'll spawn either by you at C or at A, and the enemy will spawn in B. So you want to stay in the C area, hold the spawn, and because you're in a platinum lobby, it's also very possible both these players push out towards the hill, which kind of opens the A spawn. But as I talked about earlier, this is still a decent spawn for this hill. Not as worried about the exact strategy since this hill no longer exists. It's just that thought process of, okay, we're down 3, plenty of time on the clock, take a deep breath, let's control spawns, let's get this going, right? So off spawn here, the right move is to force them to spawn B. If this is Mud Hill, the right move is to force them to spawn A. Your teammates unfortunately are in A, but hopefully they'll be moving out here soon. You want to hold C because if you move over towards B, they could spawn dummies or C. You want them spawning green at that point. So it's just knowing the map and knowing where you want them to spawn and trying to control where they're going to spawn.
Hill incoming. Hill ready. Hill controlled.
Instead, what ends up happening is, yeah, you're in a platinum lobby, so they both move towards the hill. I fully expect that. You also move towards the hill, and now all of a sudden, all three of you are in the hill. I mean, you're not in the hill, but you're 2 feet away from it, right? So effectively, you've got 3 people sitting in the hill. You're not controlling any of the spawns. They could be coming from anywhere. They're spawning possibly closer. They could be spawning A now. They could be spawning C behind you. It does look like Servana spawned up. I'm not sure where she's at, but it's possible if they pushed up, they're on A. They could be on C now as well. Maybe she spawned at B, which is really bad. So having everybody go towards hill here is a really bad move. And this is where you can kind of take advantage of that in a platinum lobby. If you know that and what you kind of understand, you can play around that, knowing that your teammates are probably going to desperate the objective. You don't have to play the objective unless you happen to be the person in position. You can play more towards strategic map movement, and that helps you win the game so you can move up through platinum into diamond. Yeah, so Servana right here is down under tunnel. She just ran from B. So she spawned B because the enemy was in places where that's where she had to spawn. Where if you had stayed C before, that opens it up so that she could have spawned C, maybe even dummies, to really help out. Instead, she has to take a long time to get to the hill. So yeah, it's just one of those that being aware of where to go and like anticipating where your teammates are going to move. In a platinum lobby, most people are going to desperate the hill or desperate the objective. It's just kind of the mindset in platinum. And as you get better, you can see, like, you can watch somebody for 30 seconds to a minute and get an idea of where they are in terms of their rank based on things like how they play objective, sometimes their shots, although not always. Things like that. So having 3 people by hill doesn't surprise me in a platinum lobby. And for you to progress and get better and get to diamond, you've got to be the one person that doesn't just aim necessarily for the objective. Kind of counter to what I was saying, where you should be the weakest one in the lobby, but you are an actual platinum player just with a couple crashes. Okay, technically you're gold right now, but anyway, I digress. Oh, that was probably called out. Good job. Good job leaving. Oh, ho, ho. Well. I don't know what that look back was. Okay, so you want to help kill this guy. He was probably getting called out KotH. That's fine. As you come out here, I was afraid you were going to go towards the hill. You didn't. You went towards A. That would have been a really good move, honestly. Go up towards A, control that. I prefer C, but either side is relatively okay. But you end up doing that for a quarter of a second, and then you turn back towards the hill to go towards C. C, again, is better, but it takes a long time to get to that other side. And if you go towards A, you stop them from spawning there, and then you can cross top mid, because at that point they've already spawned C anyway. So I don't know about this going back towards hill thing. Ooh, and then the slide out right now, you're out in the open, you have like no cover. So you're gonna get shot by this guy. If this guy was down here, if the guy coming out dummy door, the guy sitting C plat, top tower, like every single angle you're exposed to, sliding way out to here. Maybe that wasn't intentional, but I don't like the slide out to here. And then the look back, like, I don't fully understand why you looked back, because you've got 3 teammates in that area. Maybe you're just trying to see where they were shooting. But this guy was already up and in your... He was already on your screen by then, I'm pretty sure. That might be theater, let's find out. So I'm not sure what the look back is for. Oh, no, he wasn't quite in your line of sight yet, so... Here's another spot. If they do come around the corner, you're really weak. If your crosshair is up, you can get a melee or a shot off before they kill you. You do move up, so there's that.
Your team about to score.
Power items available.
Enemy team took the hill.
Okay, so you can see you just had 2 teammates die. They have no hill time. They just started the hill time. You guys have a lot, so you don't really need a desperate hill here at all. And actually, it looks like your last teammate just died. So you're the last one alive. You just picked up the most powerful weapon on the map. By progressing towards the hill, especially since you've just seen these 2, like let's say you still thought this guy was alive, because you probably did. as you progress, it's unlikely you're going to do anything necessarily effective. Maybe you get one kill, but then you die, and now your teammates have to wait that much longer for you to spawn up to help with the push. You're better off playing your life, not just in general, but now that you have the sniper, if you push, you're going to give them the sniper. So I really don't like this push forward. And you get a body shot with it, which is good damage, but there's nobody there to clean it up. So yeah, once you picked up the sniper and turned and seen that your teammates were dead, back off, maybe stay top mid, maybe go top tower, depending what the callouts are in game, right? If there is somebody tower, maybe you just take cuts but don't expose yourself. Maybe go over to A, give your team the spawn on A, because A is better than B, right? Not as good as C necessarily, but pushing here where your teammates are already dead, maybe jiggle peek it a little to clean up any damage that's over there, but realistically, at that point, let them get some time on the hill and wait for your teammates and make sure they don't get the sniper. Okay, now your 3 teammates are up, right? This is right towards the end of your spawn, and they're getting ready to push, but you're not there to help them because you ended up being a little too aggressive. If you had just waited top mid, you could be with them to push here. Wait top mid, go to A, whatever the situation is. So yeah, this is that timing where you're not ready to help them yet. You're still on the spawn screen, and when you spawn, I'm gonna guess right now you spawn back B. I don't know for certain. And so you're another 2 seconds behind them, maybe more. Oh, okay, so you spawned mud. So it's still like this teammate's here, the other 2 look like they're probably sandbags area. They're ready to attack, and you're not in position because you just got off spawn. And then your pathing here, it's a little bit faster. Instead of going towards the right and going up underneath, if you go up towards C, it gives you a different angle and is a little bit quicker to get into position to help that teammate that's over there.
Hill control. Enemy team took the hill. Enemy team nearing victory.
Oh, you just got a god spawn. So, yeah, you spawn basically almost with the hill in your line of sight. They are getting kind of close, so you almost have to desperate, but not yet. But now's the time. Use the advantage of that spawn, throw down damage, but play your life in here. Oh, and then I think that's where they end up winning it.
Hill control. Hill control.
Confirmed. The enemy is weak to bullets.
Yeah, at that point, you're desperating the hill because you kind of have to. Obviously, the teammate's not ideal. If you bank a grenade off of the orange door here, this wall, you can get to the other side of the pillar. I'll swap screens for that here just real quick. And that it does kind of seem like, especially watching that last fight, that they definitely did outclass you guys a little bit in their in their mechanics. Like, he's using the repulsor to send back grenades and stuff, and just, I think you guys are a little outclassed, and that's why it was a 4-0. But a lot of that too was just your positioning and stuff. What you want to do is, even if they do outclass you, you want to give your team the best opportunity you can to potentially win, right? And so as you're playing, thinking about your positioning, not just in relation to the hill, but in relation to the spawns of either the enemy team or your team, it can really help out with taking on somebody that's better than you. Because when it comes to, I mean, just because they're a little bit more mechanically, for the most part, mechanics to an extent in Halo, they're pretty close. Okay, the pros are a lot better than virtually everybody, but the difference between a platinum player, a high platinum and a high diamond, or a high platinum to a high gold is not drastic, right? And so it's unlikely they were that much better. They might have been high platinum. So just giving your team a better chance by controlling spawns and stuff gives you a better chance of winning. So, yeah, I think that's all I've got for this VOD review. Hopefully it's helpful. Hopefully it's all good information, even though it's kind of outdated with like the hills and stuff. But yeah, use that on all the game modes, honestly, in a sense where it's not necessarily just a strategy for that one section, but a good overall idea of how to move about and crosshair placement and things like that. So, all right, that's all I got. Thank you.